Let me tell you how a single, smiling garden gnome holding a tiny fishing pole kicked off a full-blown war in my neighborhood and ended up getting an entire homeowners association banned from our prized lakefront. Sounds crazy? Buckle up. Because if you've ever crossed paths with an entitled HOA Karen, you know one thing for sure: they'll stop at nothing to control every inch of your property, even if it means calling the cops over a ceramic lawn ornament. My name's Adam, and until last summer, I thought I'd found my slice of paradise. I'd bought a 2-story Cape Cod home in a lakeside community in upstate New York. The place was peaceful, with maple trees swaying over glittering water, and neighbors who mostly kept to themselves. Mostly. Then there was Karen. Karen Parker. Mid-50s, permascowl, and the president of the Lakeside Serenity HOA. She patrolled the streets like a stormtrooper, clutching a clipboard and a copy of the HOA bylaws that she waved around like a holy text. She was the kind of woman who'd fine you for a dandelion on your lawn, or a slightly faded doormat, or, apparently, a harmless gnome. It all started the day I placed a ceramic garden gnome, red hat, bushy beard, and fishing pole beside the walkway leading to my front porch. My sister gave it to me as a housewarming gift, and I thought it was quirky and fun. The next morning, as I left for work, there she was, Karen, standing by my mailbox, arms crossed. "Adam," she called out, voice sharp enough to cut glass, "that thing violates the aesthetic of Lakeside Serenity." I blinked. The gnome. We have a regulation. Lawn ornaments must be tasteful, neutral-toned, and no taller than 8 inches. Yours is garish, and it's 12 inches tall. I glanced at the gnome. He looked pretty chill to me. It's a garden gnome, Karen, not a neon sign. "It's disruptive," she snapped. "It sets a precedent. Next thing you know, people will be putting up flamingos. Or plastic deer. Or, heaven forbid, wind chimes shaped like dragons." I tried to hold in a laugh. Dragons might actually be cool. She scowled. "You have 24 hours to remove it, or I'll have to issue a citation." Duly noted. I drove off to work, shaking my head. Surely she wouldn't actually call the cops over a gnome. Turns out, I severely underestimated Karen Parker. The next day, I came home from work, whistling, groceries in hand. I rounded the corner onto my street and nearly dropped my bags. There were 2 police cruisers parked in front of my house. And Karen was standing in my driveway, speaking to 2 uniformed officers, gesturing wildly toward my walkway. I rushed over. "Is everything okay?" One of the cops turned. "Are you Mr. Adam Miller?" "Yeah." Karen cut in, voice trembling with righteous fury. "I told you, officers. He refuses to comply with HOA ordinances. That gnome is a violation. It's an eyesore. It's a public nuisance." I stared at her. You called the cops over my gnome?" Karen pointed dramatically at my poor ceramic friend. "It's a threat to the harmony of our community." The younger cop tried, and failed, to keep a straight face. "Sir, can you explain the situation?" So I explained. I told them about the bylaws. The measurements. How it was a gift from my sister. How it wasn't blocking any sidewalk or posing any hazard. The older officer sighed. "Ma'am, this is a civil matter. Not criminal. We can't arrest someone for having a garden gnome." Karen's face turned beet red. "But it's illegal." The cop replied dryly, "It's not illegal, ma'am. HOA rules aren't state law." She stomped her foot. "Then write him a ticket for disorderly conduct." The officers both shook their heads. "That's not how it works." Finally, the cops left, giving me apologetic nods. Karen, huffing and puffing, stormed off, screeching something about the HOA board. I scooped up my gnome and gave it a pat on his red hat. "Well, buddy, looks like you're staying." But Karen wasn't done. Not by a long shot. The next week, I started getting official HOA letters. Notice of violation, unauthorized lawn ornament, fine, $50 per day until removed. By the end of 10 days, Karen claimed I owed $500. I refused to pay. Instead, I went to the next HOA board meeting. I stood up, gnome in hand, and said, "Point of order, Please show me the bylaw that specifically bans red hats and fishing poles. Karen waved her papers. It's under Section 3, Subsection B, Part 7.2. Decor must be tasteful and harmonious. Define tasteful, I shot back. This isn't about taste, she shouted. It's about order. The room fell silent. Even the treasurer was trying not to laugh. Karen, shaking with fury, tried to push a vote for new rules banning all colorful statues. But the board refused. They said it was petty. A couple of neighbors clapped me on the back as I left. But Karen doubled down. She started passing out flyers around the neighborhood. Keep Lakeside Serenity beautiful. Say no to tacky yard junk. The flyer had a photo of my gnome, circled in red like a criminal mugshot. Meanwhile, Karen upped my fine to $1,000. My patience snapped. So I did what any fed-up homeowner would do. I lawyered up. My attorney, a guy named Seth, specialized in HOA disputes. He reviewed the HOA documents and grinned. Karen doesn't have a legal leg to stand on, he said. The bylaws are too vague. You're well within your rights. So I filed a countersuit against the HOA for harassment, unlawful fines, and defamation, thanks to those flyers. That's when I discovered the HOA's dirty little secret. Seth did a little digging and found out that Lakeside Serenity HOA held a 20-year lease with the town for exclusive private access to the lakefront. It was their biggest selling point: a beach, boat slips, fishing docks, all restricted for HOA members only. But the lease had strict conditions. The HOA had to remain in good standing, with no civil judgments or legal actions against it. And my lawsuit threatened exactly that. Karen was furious. She tried to hold an emergency HOA meeting to force me to drop the suit. She screamed at me in the meeting hall. "You're destroying this community." I replied coolly, "No, Karen. You're destroying it, one garden gnome at a time." 2 months later, we ended up in mediation. The HOA agreed to drop all fines, issue me a formal apology, pay my legal fees. Karen tried to refuse, but the other board members overruled her. The HOA was terrified of losing their lake privileges. But it was too late. Word of the lawsuit reached the town council. They reviewed the HOA's actions and declared that the harassment and attempted fines violated their lease's good standing clause. So the town council voted unanimously. Effective immediately, the HOA's exclusive lease on the lakefront was revoked. The lake became public property, open to everyone in town. No more HOA-controlled gates. No more members-only beach signs. Anyone could fish, swim, or boat on the lake. Karen showed up at the lake the next weekend, trying to shoo off kids playing in the sand. A town official escorted her away, reminding her the HOA had no authority anymore. She went ballistic. Neighbors filmed the meltdown and posted it on Reddit. The video went viral under the title, "HOA Karen gets banned from her own lakefront after calling cops over a gnome." As for me, I placed my gnome, still smiling, right at the edge of my dock. Fishing pole in hand. A tiny champion of petty resistance. These days, the lake is busier than ever. Families picnic there. Kids swim. People fish alongside my ceramic buddy. Karen still scowls at me whenever we pass each other. But there's nothing she can do. Sometimes I even catch tourists taking selfies with my gnome. He's become a local legend. All because HOA Karen tried to control one harmless piece of ceramic art. Moral of the story? Never underestimate how far an entitled Karen will go, or how spectacularly their schemes can backfire.